that's what you're going to see when you go to JohnLundUnleashed.com, who the Warriors want to see and want to avoid in the playoffs. And what I did at JohnLundUnleashed.com is I put them in order easiest to most difficult. So you got to go to JohnLundUnleashed.com. This is what you will see right here. And I'll just put a couple on the board to tease you here, and then you got to go to see the rest. The Kings, the easiest. This is easiest to most difficult. Kings, but it would be a one-game series with the Kings. They've knocked you out before. The Grizzlies, they just changed their coach 10 days ago. Mavericks, I actually put third because it's Anthony Davis. It would only be a one-game playoff if you play the Mavericks. It would be like one and done. You would have lost the first game, the 7-8 play-in. Then you're playing the Mavericks, who would have probably beaten the Kings, and it's one and done. And it's not that I think the Mavericks would beat the Warriors in the 7-game set, but in a one-game set with Anthony Davis, that scares the hell out of me. From easiest to most difficult, who the Warriors would want to see and not want to see in the playoffs. That's at JohnLundUnleashed.com. So I'm kind of torn when I write this whole thing because, as I put at the top, the teams that are near the bottom, I say to myself, okay, the Kings, although it would be a one-game playoff type of a thing. The Mavericks would be a one-game playoff type of a thing. And then I start looking at the experience. The Lakers make me nervous because of LeBron James, but I do think with the ball dominance of Luka and LeBron James, they haven't figured that out. So what's weird about it is, even though I think long-term the Lakers, for example, are going to be better with Luka Doncic, the matchup was more difficult for the Warriors with Anthony Davis. Davis in the playoffs had scored 30 or more points and grabbed 14 or more rebounds against the Warriors five times. They just didn't have an answer. Luka's a better player, makes others around him better, but the Warriors have more players to throw at Luka Doncic and have had success against him in the playoffs. LeBron is LeBron, I get it, but they make me nervous because of their experience. Denver, I'm deathly afraid of because of the experience. The thing that's amazing about Denver is they don't have really a great bench. Russell Westbrook is not having a great year, but because of Jokic making all the players around him that much better and the struggle that the Warriors had over the last few years in beating Denver would likely have home court advantage. I think they're going to finish fourth. I think the Lakers are going to finish third, and it's going to be difficult for the Warriors to get up that high. So probably start at around fifth. They'll probably be fifth, the Warriors. So it's going to be Oklahoma City first, the Rockets second, Lakers third, Nuggets fourth. Then I think it's going to be the Warriors fifth. So the Warriors at this point can finish anywhere from 5 to 8. So we go through those things. But Nuggets, because of their experience, scare me. Lakers to a certain extent, although they were better with Anthony Davis. And then the bigger questions to me is, what are the Clippers going to be? Experience, Kawhi Leonard. Remember, not only did Kawhi beat the Warriors in 2019 in the NBA Finals, asterisk, with lots of help from the basketball gods who took Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson away. But you've got that experience. James Harden, yeah, they always beat James Harden, but the Clippers have a bit of experience, and they may have the home court depending on what happens April 13th. So those are the experienced teams. And then we saw it from the Rockets the other night, but let me just put a little point to remember in the Rockets when you're talking about a potential Rockets-Warriors matchup, which is it's an advantage to the Warriors having seen the Rockets this late in the season. One of the great things that the Warriors have done under Steve Kerr is they might get behind early in a series, but they get smarter and they figure you out. And by the end of 7, and this is the big difference, 82 games, which a team like Oklahoma City is clearly built for with their depth and their youth, we'll get to in just a second. The Rockets, I think, are built for 82. But are you built for a 16-game sprint? And this is what we're talking about in teams that you want to play and don't want to play in the NBA playoffs. And at some point, you probably have to play everybody. But I think if they play Denver first, I think they're going to get knocked out. I think LA would be really, really tough. They would prevail against the Lakers. Clippers, because of Kawhi and their experience, I think would be tough. Plus, they've got some size and physicality, which the Rockets showed once again that you're going to have trouble. But as far as the Rockets, I think it's an advantage for the Warriors because now they see it. The Rockets beat them. I get it. Steph went 1 for 10. Amen Thompson's getting a ton of love for his defensive performance, but that allows Steph to see it, allows the Warriors to see it, allows them to evaluate it. So if they play the Rockets, I really think that last game, even though they lost, is going to go back into the kind of the memory banks and be advantageous. So you got the Rockets there. You got some veteran guys or veteran teams. And then to me, it comes down to Oklahoma City. Where do you put them? Are they the number one matchup that you don't want based on the fact that they're 64-14? Or do you think in the back of your head, look, you're an 82 games team. 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐿, even though I think it's Jokic, is probably going to win the MVP. Jalen Williams, former Santa Clara product, is absolutely a great sidekick. Robin, I don't know if he's more of a second or a third, but on this team, that's what he is. That Holmgren is good. Steen Fitz. They've got a bunch of guys. They have 5 players having 17 minutes or more off the bench. So they're very, very deep. Number one defensive efficiency. Very good offensive teams. They turn it over less than anybody else in the league at about 11 per game. There's a lot of things to like about Oklahoma City, but the one thing they do not have, and you just have to go through it to get it, is experience. And most times in the NBA, it's a stepping stone kind of a thing before you can win a championship. The fact that they're 64-14, the fact that they and Cleveland are the best two teams, but neither of those teams have proven it. So I only put the Western Conference teams in this piece at JohnLundUnleashed.com and who the Warriors would or would not want to play, and I put it in order. But Oklahoma City is interesting to me because I was debating whether Denver would be the worst matchup because of their experience in Jokic and all those kind of things, or was it going to be Oklahoma City because of their 82-game record? So you got to go on there. But Oklahoma City, to me, as great as they were over 82 games, are susceptible in the playoffs because, A, 𝐿_Alexander gets the line more than anybody else in the NBA, and the whistles tighten up in the playoffs, as we just saw from Steph against the Rockets. That's playoff basketball. So is he going to get to the line as much? I doubt it. Are the players around him going to step up? And then part of the reason that they're so good is they're so deep. You're not going to have as much depth in the playoffs as you have. You got no back-to-backs, all those kind of things. So they're going to shorten that bench up a little bit for Oklahoma City. And then when it comes down to it, and I've said it this whole time, what if Golden State were to play them in the playoffs and then walk in and punch them in the mouth in game one? How do they react? Because you only react through experience, right? And the Warriors have had that happen to them. And they're like, we've done it before, we've come back. Oklahoma City hasn't done it before and come back. And they haven't gone deep into the playoffs. And they don't know the intensity of it. So it's a young basketball team that's really, really good in the regular season. But there is a difference between the 82-game marathon and the 16-win sprint. And is Oklahoma City up to that? I will find that out in these playoffs. But you got some young teams in Oklahoma City. The Rockets have it kind of sprinkled in. You got the veteran teams like the Warriors, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Nuggets, guys on those teams that have won championships. What will prevail? Check it out at JohnLundUnleashed.com. The teams you want to play to the teams you want to avoid. And at some point, you're going to have to play somebody tough anyway. I just hope it's not Denver in the first round. But there it is. Check it out at JohnLundUnleashed.com, who the Warriors want to see and want to avoid in the playoffs at JohnLundUnleashed.com.